Good afternoon, students. I welcome you all for the class. Today, we'll be going to discuss regarding cache memory, which is one of the important topic in the second unit. So, in the last class, that is in the yesterday's class, we have seen regarding what is a memory, what are the different types of memory, or what is the classifications of memory we are having. So what are the different classifications of memory we are having? The two major classifications are RAM and ROM. Again, the RAM is classified into SRAM and DRAM, static RAM and dynamic RAM, and ROM is divided into PROM, EPROM and EEPROM. So that classification we have seen yesterday, and we have seen the differences between DRAM and SRAM. And when it comes to the ROM, we have seen the different types of read-only memories, that is the PROM, EPROM and EEPROM. And we have seen the differences between RAM and ROM. And also we have studied regarding the speed, size and cost of different memories. So till that part we have covered yesterday. Fine. Today we will be going to discuss another important major concept, which is known as cache memory. So in the yesterday's class, I have given you a brief introduction regarding different memories, right? So what are the hierarchy of the memory? What are the different hierarchy of the memories we are having, and why we are going to place in between main memory and CPU? Why we are going to implement a cache? And what is the L1 cache and what is the L2 cache? We have seen yesterday regarding the basics. Today we will be going to look in depth regarding this cache memory. What is the importance of cache, and what are the things that are going to be presented when we are going to do with the cache memory? So all the things we'll be going to discuss today. Fine. So let me tell you, what do you mean by a cache memory? Fine. So cache memory is a very high speed memory. So the first thing is, the cache memory is a very high speed memory. It also, we can also call it as fastest memory. The cache is the fastest memory. Why we are telling that the cache is the fastest memory? As I have said you before, here the CPU will be there, and here the main memory will be there. So CPU will be going to contact with the main memory for any information. So without the main memory, we can't run any of the program. Why? Because main memory is the important one in which we can execute a programs in that main memory only. So here when we are going to talk regarding this cache memory, this cache memory is incorporated in between the main memory and the CPU. Why we have placed only in between the main memory and the CPU? Why not between the main memory and the secondary memory? Why we have not placed over here? Why we have placed the cache memory over here? In the sense, why? Because the accessing speed of CPU is very fast. So accessing speed of CPU is very fast. But when it comes to the main memory, it is very slow. So in order to match the speed with the CPU, in order to incorporate between the match communication between the CPU and the main memory, in order to have a greater accessing speed, we have incorporated, or we have kept the cache in the in between the CPU and the main memory. Fine. So why we are going to say that cache is a high speed memory or a fastest memory? Why? Because the replica or a copy of the contents of main memory are going to be placed in the cache memory. What the cache memory is going to hold, in the sense, a copy of contents of main memory. Fine. Whatever the details we'll be going to store in the main memory, a copy is going to be stored in the cache memory. Fine. So here when we are going to fetch any of the instruction, first the CPU will fetch in the cache memory. If that instruction is fetch, if the instruction is found in the cache memory, the CPU will take that instruction and it will be going to process the instruction. Fine. If the instruction is not there in the cache memory, then the operating system, what it will be going to do is, here the we'll be going to take the instruction, and if the suppose if that instruction is not there in the cache memory, then the CPU is going to contact the main memory. So here if the instruction is present, it will be going to take that instruction and it will process the data. In main memory also the data was not present in the sense, then the operating system will be going to take the data from main secondary memory to main memory, so that the CPU is going to take the data from the main memory and it is going to access it. So this is the process actually it is going fine. So but here in this today's class we are very much concentrating on this cache memory. We are leaving about this main memory and the secondary memory. Why? Because SJ only we have discussed regarding all those things, right? So today we will be focusing mainly on the cache memory. So why cache? In the sense it is the fastest memory, and why we have incorporated cache in between the processor and the main memory, in the sense, in order to match the speed between the CPU and the main memory, we have placed a cache over here. Why? Because the CPU accessing speed is very high, but the main memory accessing speed is very low. It is the those two are not getting synchronized very much. So in order to get more accessing speed, we have placed a cache in between the CPU and the main memory. But cache memory is costlier than the main memory or the CPU, or main memory or the disk memory, that means secondary storage devices. Why? Because here when we are, as day we have seen, when we are going from top to bottom, when we are coming from top to bottom, the cost of cache is very high when compared to main memory and the secondary memory. In the same manner, the size of cache is very less when compared to main memory and the secondary memory. So why we are telling that accessing speed is more, in the sense, like as I have said you yesterday, checking the instruction in very few instructions is very much easy. Suppose checking of X instruction in 10 instruction is somewhat difficult. Checking X instruction in 100 instruction is very difficult. But checking a X instruction is 5 instruction is very easy. So this checking we call it as a cache. So cache is going to have less number of instructions when compared to main memory. What the cache is going to have? A copy of main memory contents are going to be placed in the cache memory. Fine. So cache memory is an extremely fastest memory that acts as a buffer between the RAM and the CPU. Fine. RAM is nothing but the main memory. This RAM is nothing but the main memory and the CPU. So we have incorporated a cache in between the RAM and the CPU. So what the cache will hold? It holds the frequently requested data and instructions so that they are immediately available to the CPU when needed. So this cache is holding frequently used instructions. In another way, a copy, this is a copy of contents is also okay. But mostly we will be going to say that cache is going to have a frequently used instructions. Frequently used instructions. Suppose this CPU is very much using a add function or some add instruction. So every time this add instruction, what CPU has to do? So CPU has to check in the main memory for this add instruction. So what I am going to do is, as CPU is regularly using this add instruction, I am placing this add instruction in the cache memory. So what the CPU will do now? Instead of going into the main memory, it will be checking in the cache memory. So in the cache memory, the instructions are very less so that it can fetch very much easily, and the accessing speed is going to be increased very much faster. So that is the reason why we are going to implement a cache in between the central processing unit and the main memory. So frequently used instructions are going to be stored in the cache memory. All the instructions will be going to have a copy in the main memory, but what are the frequently used instructions will be stored at the top, so that whenever the CPU is fetched for that frequently used instruction, first it will check in the cache, As it is a frequently used instruction, we can get the data from the cache. If that data was not available in the cache memory, then the CPU will go and fetch in the main memory. So the accessing time will be more when compared to the cache accessing time to the main memory accessing time. So that is the reason why we have incorporated a cache in between the main memory and the CPU. And also CPU is used to reduce the average time to access the data from the main memory. As I have said, so we can reduce the access time in the cache memory. But when compared to the main memory, it is accessing time is very faster when we are going to talk in the cache memory. The cache memory is the smaller and fastest memory which stores a copy of data from frequently used main memory locations. So a copy of data, which kind of data, what the CPU is looking frequently, those data we are going to store in the cache memory. So this is the brief introduction regarding the cache memory. So what is the cache memory? In the sense, it is the fastest memory. So why we are going to place the cache in between the CPU and the main memory? In the sense, in order to match the speed. Why? Because CPU accessing speed is very high, but the main memory accessing speed is very low. So in order to have a correct exact transformation, we are placing a cache in between the main memory and the CPU, so that the frequently used instructions, a copy, are going to be stored in the cache memory, so that CPU will fetch in the cache memory first. Later on, if that instruction is not available in the cache memory, then only it will go to the main memory. If that instruction is not at all present in the main memory, then we will be going to take that instructions from secondary memory and place it in the main memory. So this is the thing that will be going to happen when we are going to talk regarding the instructions in the cache memory. And next one is levels of cache, levels of memory. Yesterday we have seen, right? Yesterday we have seen a diagram like this, the hierarchy like this, fine. So first, what is, which level is there? First level is here, the CPU will be there. Inside the CPU, we'll be going to have resistors. So this resistors is level 1. And next one is L2. L2 is a cache memory. So this L3 is a main memory. So here it is the cache memory, and this is the main memory, and this is the secondary memory. So resistors. So when we are going to talk resistors, the data stored and accepted that are immediately stored in the CPU. So most commonly used register is accumulator, program counter, and address register, data register, control registers. All these are the registers that are frequently going to be used. So when it comes to the cache memory, as we have discussed, it is the fastest accessing time where data is temporarily stored for faster access. It is not permanently stored over here. In only the secondary memory, the data is going to be stored permanently. When it comes to the main memory and when it comes to the cache memory, the data is going to be stored temporarily. When it comes to the main memory, the main memory, it is the memory on which computer works currently. Computer, where it is going to work, in the sense, the computer will work in the main memory only. It is a small in size, and once the power is off, data no longer stays in this main memory. So thus it is called volatile memory. So when the power is off, so the data is going to be erased. So that is the main memory. So when it comes to the secondary memory, it is a non-volatile memory. That means we can store the data permanently. For example, pen drives, hard disk drives, CD drives, all these are the examples of secondary memory. So these are the different levels of memory we are having. And next one important concept is locality of reference. So this is locality of reference, very important concept in the cache memory. So what is locality of reference? So as we know that here the cache memory size is small. This is a small in size, a cache is small in size. So here what I have said you is, this is the main memory, fine. This is the main memory. What I have said, you see here, it is a CPU. What I have said you is a copy of instructions from the main memory are going to be stored in the cache memory. Fine. A copy of instructions from the main memory are going to be checked in the cache memory, are going to be placed in the cache memory. Here the question arises, which type of data or which copy of data or which part of data from the main memory should be stored in the cache memory. So for that, that is based on the locality of reference. So which data we need to move from, or which data we need to store from main memory to the cache memory. So it should be given priority. Which kind of data should be given priority, and which kind of data should be loaded in the cache memory, that is based on the locality of reference. So that is known as locality of reference. So here, since the size of the cache memory is less as compared to the main memory, so to check which part of main memory should be given priority and loaded in cache is decided based on the locality of reference. So here there are two types of locality of reference. The first one is the spatial locality of reference, and second one is the temporal locality of reference. The first one is spatial locality of reference. So spatial locality of reference, in the sense, this is the main memory. Suppose here the main memory is divided into number of cells. Fine. Here the address is 2568. So this is the address. Suppose if a CPU asked for fifth instruction, CPU asked for fifth instruction. So what it will be going to do is, so fifth instruction will be loaded in the cache memory anyhow. Why? Because this is the instruction that is frequently used by the CPU. Along with the fifth instruction, we will be going to load 6 and 7 instructions also in the cache memory. Why? Because suppose if I am calling, for example, I am distributing the papers. So I'm calling from A section. A section. So I have called 15 number. 15 number. Next person who is the roll number 16, he'll be very much alert. Why? Because after 15, 16 is the turn, right? So he'll be very much alert, or else 16 to 20 will be very much alert. Why? Because they are in the line. So in the same manner, so when the CPU has asked for fifth instruction, so along with that fifth instruction, we are going to store 6, 7, 8 instructions also in the cache memory. Why? Because after the fifth instruction, these are the instructions that are going to be done. So this we call it as a spatial locality of reference. So why? What are the instructions that are close to fifth instruction? Either second instruction or sixth instruction. So this second instruction and sixth instruction also going to be stored in the cache memory. Why? Because after this fifth instruction, it can execute, can go for second instruction. Why? Because this second instruction is nearer to the fifth instruction, and it can go for sixth instruction. Why? Because this sixth instruction is nearer to the fifth instruction. So this type of loading the things from main memory to cache memory, we call it as a spatial locality of reference. See here, this says that there is a chance that element will be present in the close proximity to the reference. So what is the reference over here? 5 is the reference. What are the elements that are going to be close with the 5? 2 and 6. Close proximity is 2 and 6. So instead of getting only fifth instruction in the cache memory, we are also getting the second instruction as well as the sixth instruction. Why? Because instruction with the address close to recently instruction are also executed to be soon. So that is the reason we are going to take, instead of taking only the fifth instruction, we are going to take the second instruction and sixth instruction also. Why? Because they are very much close to the currently executing instruction. So this we call it as a spatial locality of reference. And when it comes to the temporal locality of reference, so here suppose CPU is looking for uh, here CPU is looking for some X instruction. CPU is looking for X instruction. First, where it will be going to check? First, it will be going to check in the cache memory. If that instruction is not present, then it will be going to check in the main memory, right? So, in this whenever there is a page whenever there is this CPU is asking for X instruction, then CPU will check in the cache memory, but the X instruction is not there in the cache memory. So what we call this as cache miss. Cache miss in the sense, here this we call it as a cache miss. Cache miss in the sense, whatever the instruction that is looking by the CPU, if that instruction is not in the cache memory, we call it as a cache miss. If the instruction is present in the cache memory, we call it as a cache hit. Hit in the sense, whatever the instruction that is looking, that is available in the cache, that we call it as a cache hit. If that instruction is not present in the cache memory, we call it as a cache miss. So here what we will be going to do is, instead of going to take only that particular instruction, we are going to load that complete page. So complete page in the sense, like instead of taking that particular instruction, a complete page is going to be loaded from main memory to the cache memory. Here see, so whenever there is a page fault occurs, whatever the page that is looking for is not in the cache memory, that we call it as a page fault. Whenever a page fault occurs within a word will not only load in main memory, but complete page fault will be loaded, because spatial locality of reference rule says if you are referring any word, next word will be referred in its register. That's why we load a complete page table so that complete block will be loaded. So this is how temporal locality of reference will be. So in short, we can say that recently executed instructions is likely to be executed again very soon. So that is the temporal locality of reference. When it comes to the spatial locality of instructions which are close to a particular address what we are looking for, they are also going to be stored. Here when we are going to have a page fault, so along with that page fault, the whole page table is going to be loaded. So that is going to be the temporal locality of reference. So this is the locality of reference concept. So locality of reference in the sense, which pages are going to be loaded from main memory to the cache memory. So that we call it as a locality of reference. What are the different types? Spatial locality and the temporal locality. What is spatial locality? Whatever the address we are looking for, we are not only loading that particular address, what are the addresses nearby, or what are the elements that are going to be nearby, those are also going to be loaded in the cache memory, that within the space, near the space. So that's the reason why it was named as a spatial locality. When it comes to the temporal locality, so recently executed instructions are likely to be executed again. So now I have done the add instruction, I have done another instruction. There is a more chance of executing again add instruction. So recently executed instructions is likely to be executed again very soon. That we call it as a temporal locality of reference. So this is regarding the locality of reference concept. And next one is, this is the diagram. So as I have drawn over here, so here temporal and spatial in the sense, like we have seen here between this is the diagram when we are going to talk regarding this cache. So we are going to place the cache in between the CPU and the main memory. So memory access control and the data path is going to be over here. So why we are going to place in this cache in the middle, in the sense CPU speed is very high, main memory speed is very low. So in order to match this, we are going to place over the cache over here. So here, when we are going to look over here, so what is the working that this diagram is going to be shown? So what is the working in the sense, here we are going to have CPU, cache memory, and the main memory, right? So when we are going to have this CPU, cache memory, and the main memory, how it is going to be work, that it will be going that I'll be going to explain you. So first here, what is the processor is going to do is, this processor is going to issue a read request first. Issue a read request. So then what it will happen, a block of words is transferred from main memory to the cache memory. So that is going to be done when a read request is done. So now first step is CPU issued a read request. Then what happened? This a block of words are transferred from cache. I mean a block of words are transferred from main memory to the cache memory. So transferring has done. Transferring has done. So at a given time, only some blocks in the main memory are held in the cache, that we already know, right? Why? Because not all the instructions are going to be copying in the cache. Whatever the frequently used instructions, those instructions we are making a copy from main memory to the cache memory. So which blocks in the main memory are in the cache is determined by mapping function. So this is very very important. So which blocks in the main memory are in the cache is determined by which function? So that is determined by mapping function. So this mapping function is very very important. So when the cache is full, a block of words need to be transferred from the main memory. So then what we have to do? We have to delete some block of words in the cache must be deleted, and we have to give space for the blocks from main memory to the cache memory. So this which blocks has to be deleted is going to be done by the page replacement or replacement algorithms. These replacement algorithms are also very very important. Fine, you will be going to see all these things when we are going to study operating systems. So what are the replacement algorithms, what is a page, and everything we will be going to see in the operating system. Now if the data is in the cache, it is called a read or a write hit. If it is not there in the cache, we will be call it as a cache miss. So that is how we will be going to have the working of this cache memory. Fine. So first of all, the processor is going to issue a read request. How the working, in the sense, this is the working of this cache. So the processor is going to issue a read request. So once the processor is issued a request, what it will be going to do is, whatever the request is done by the CPU, that block, complete block is going to be transferred from main memory to the cache memory. Fine. So which blocks in the main memory are in the cache memory? So that is how we are going to determine, in the sense, that is going to be determined by the mapping function. So when the cache is full, suppose this cache is full, now we want to transfer some of the data from main memory to the cache memory, but now the cache is full. What we have to do? We have to delete some of the blocks over here. So which blocks we want to delete? So that is going to be dependent on the replacement algorithms. So that based on the replacement, what are the replacement algorithm, in the sense, FIFO, first in first out, LRU, least recently used, LFU, least frequently used, all these are replacement algorithms. So based on one of the replacement algorithms, what we'll be going to do is, we'll be going to delete some of the blocks, and we'll be going to give space for the new entries from main memory to the cache memory. So this is the working of this one. So if a CPU is looking for any particular data, if the data is there in the cache, if the data is present, we call it as a hit. If the data is not there, if the data is not there in the cache, we call it as a miss. As we are talking regarding this cache, we call it as a cache hit and cache miss. So this is the very very important concept. Fine. So this is the working I have said you. So processor issues a read request, then a block of words is transferred from main memory to cache. So Which block in the main memory are in the cache is determined by which function? It is determined by the mapping function. So when a cache is full, a block of words need to be transferred from the main memory. So some block of words in the cache must be replaced. So which blocks are going to be replaced? That is determined by the replacement algorithms. So what are the replacement algorithms in the sense? Like we'll be going to have FIFO, first in first out, LRU, that is least recent reused, LFU, that is least frequently used. By any one of the page replacement algorithms, we will be going to replace that block of data. If the data in the cache, if the data is present in the cache, we call it as a hit. If the data is not present, we call it as a miss. As we are talking regarding the cache, we call it as a cache hit and cache miss. So now we will be going to talk regarding the read hit and write hit. So what do you mean by a read hit and what do you mean by a write hit? So as I have said you, if the data is there in the cache, we call it as a read hit or write hit. Hit. The terminology that is important is hit. What is a read hit? The data is obtained from the cache. That we call it as a read hit. What is a write hit? Write hit in the sense what the cache is going to have, it is going to have the replica of the main memory. That means the copy replica is nothing but a copy of frequently used instructions are going to be stored in the cache memory. Now the contents of cache and the main memory may be updated simultaneously. Why? Because here I am saying that this is the cache memory and this is the main memory. So what is the cache memory is going to have? Cache memory is going to have the content, same contents of the main memory. But what are the instructions in the sense? Frequently used instructions. But those instructions are same in the cache memory as well as in the main memory. So now these two contents have to be updated simultaneously. Why? Because they both are having the same data. So here some 200 memory location is there. In that the data was 8. So here the same data 200 memory location, the data should be 8 only. Why? Because the data from here we have transferred to here. When we transferred here, suppose if the main memory, if CPU has done some modifications on this data, suppose here it is 9 but here it is 8 only. So what the thing we have to do is we have to update the contents of cache and mark it as updated. That is known as modified bit. Suppose if the contents of main memory are updated when this block is replaced, that is known as write back or copy back protocol. Why? Because we are maintaining a same copy of data in the main memory and in the cache memory. So that both the data should be equal. So if we are going to modify in the cache, we call it as a modify bit. So when we are going to update in the main memory, we call it as a write back or copy back protocol. In the same manner, read miss or write miss. So read miss in the sense if the data is not present in the cache, we call it as a read miss or write miss. So when we are going to say it as a read miss, a block of words containing this requested word is transferred from memory. After the block is transferred, the desired word is forwarded to the processor. Is it not so? So from main memory, so from main memory, the block of data is transferred to the cache memory. From cache memory, we are going to send this data to the CPU. Fine. This desired word may be forwarded to the processor as soon as it is transferred without waiting the entire block to be transferred. This is called load through or early restart. So this is the very important. When we are talking regarding the write miss, here the contents of the main memory should be updated directly. So if write back protocol is used, the block contain what is the address of that particular thing is brought into the cache, then it is overwritten with the new information. So this is called read miss and the write miss. So no need to go this much. We call it as a hit or miss. Hit in the sense if the data is present in the cache, we call it as a hit, and if the data is not present in the cache, we call it as a miss. So this is how we will be going to have the uh, cache. So cache, what is the working of a cache memory? What we say if the data is present in the cache? What we will do if the data is not present in the cache? What is a dirty bit, and what is the and this write miss, read miss, everything we have seen in this cache. Now we'll be going to see regarding the performance of the cache. So performance is going to be determined by hit ratio. How the cache performance is going to be measured in the sense, the performance of a cache is measured by hit ratio. What is the hit ratio is equals to? Ratio is equals to, here the formula is equals to number of hits by total. Total in the sense hit plus miss. So number of hits in the sense, if we are going to look in cache memory, if that particular page is there, we call it as a hit. If the page is not there, we call it as a miss. So hit ratio is going to be calculated by number of hits by total number of access, that is hit plus miss. So that we call it as a hit ratio. So when the processor needs to read or write a location in main memory, it first check for a corresponding entry in the cache. Fine. If the processor find that particular location in the cache, we call it as a cache hit, and if it does not find that particular memory location, we call it as a cache miss. So for a cache miss, what we are going to do? The cache allocates a new entry and copies in data from main memory. So then the request is fulfilled from the contents of the cache. So here the performance of the cache is frequently measured in terms of a quantity called hit ratio. The formula for hit ratio is equals to hit total number of hits by total number of hit plus total number of miss. So we can improve the cache performance. How we can improve the cache performance? The first one is by using higher cache block size. As I have said you, the cache is the smallest one when compared to the main memory and the secondary memory. So how we are going to increase the performance in the sense, if we are going to increase the size of the cache, so that number of instructions stored will be high, so that CPU can directly take the instructions from the cache memory, so that by that you can increase the performance of the cache. And another way is reduce the miss rate. Miss rate in the sense, most of the instructions should present in the cache. When most of the instructions will present, if the size of the cache is increased. When the size of the cache is increased, the access time is going to be decreased. So everything is interrelated. Fine. By making use of these things and reduce the time to hit in the cache. So all these are the things that can improve the performance of the cache. So this is the very important formula when we are going to talk regarding the performance of the cache memory. So performance of the cache is going to be defined in terms of hit ratio. What is the formula for hit ratio? Is equals to number of hits by total number of hits plus total number of miss. That all together we call it as a hit ratio. This is how we will be going to look after the performance of the cache memory. And these are the things that we are going to learn in this today's class. Fine. We have studied the introduction, what is the cache memory, and the basic concepts in the sense, what is the cache hit, what is the cache miss, what is the locality of reference, what are the different types of locality, what is the spatial locality, and what is the temporal locality, and what is the performance of the cache memory. So everything we have covered in this today's session. And that's all for today's class, students. In the next class we'll be coming with a new topic. Thank you all, students. Have a great day.